Hello, this is mufcMPB. I'm your host Ash Meppers, and I'll be bringing you all the latest football news from the past couple of days and some things potentially in the future as well. Today on the show, what we've got is Hannibal rising star, Ten Hag's potential new contract, all the breakdown of the 3-0 Carabao Cup win. Hold on a moment, boys. The 3-0 Carabao Cup win against Crystal Palace last night, and any other mufcMPB latest news. Bear with me today, boys. I'm recovering from the Rona. So if you're coming into the stream, make yourselves known, make yourself welcome into the stream. Anything you've got to say, get your comments posted in the chat. More than happy to reply to them, comment, get basically your opinion on what's going on the football and Manchester United over the past couple of days and going into the future. Also, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. How's it going? Why? Welcome into the stream, mate. Good day. After a great performance yesterday against Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. I was there at the game yesterday. I thought we performed well. Thought we performed really well, to be honest. We dominated that game, but I mean the man who's kind of the star of the moment, and if anything, what you could say is he's led us to our recovery so much, so to speak. That performance against Burnley at Turf Moor, Hannibal covered more ground than any other Manchester United player on the pitch, and any Burnley player also on the pitch at the time, covering 12.9 kilometres, and apparently that's the most ground covered by any player in the league at all this season in any game. To say that was his first game for Manchester United this season, an exceptional performance, and what a star in the making, essentially. If you've been following Hannibal Mejbri's career over the past couple of years, maybe even months, you're new to him, whatever, you maybe wouldn't know that we bought him in at 16 years old from Monaco, him having gone through the Clairefontaine Academy over there in France, one of the well-established academies in world football, along with Ajax's and La Masia at Barcelona. A real prodigious talent coming through France at the time, and Manchester United were able to sweep him up and buy him in from Monaco after a few of his personal issues over there in the south of France. Welcome in, Mr. Stats. Welcome in, Nasser. So you look at Hannibal Mejbri bringing into the team. 20 years old he is now. I'm not sure if you watched him at all in the Championship. At the Championship, he played pretty well, fairly well for Birmingham. I mean, it's always difficult going into the Championship as a young lad, 19 years old, and trying to really, stamp a mark in the Championship. It's never going to happen in the midfield. You never, or very rarely will you ever see that, But what Mejbri's he's doing, and he's continuing evolving to do, is show his presence as a footballer. At 20 years of age, you look at the footballers in world football at the same age throughout the history of the game, and you look at the position he plays, and there's not many at the age of 20 years old that are accomplished and as kind of well-rounded. Usually it takes 23, 24, 25 is when really they start to cement themselves as a professional footballers and like a proper talent within football teams. I'm thinking of players like Toni Kroos, even players like Kevin De Bruyne. Where was Kevin De Bruyne at the age of 20 years old? Exceptional talent. He was struggling with Chelsea, struggling with Mourinho, had to go and get a leave to Werder Bremen, I think it was at the time, and then eventually Wolfsburg. And so, yeah, you see Mejbri coming against Burnley, covering 12.9 kilometres, more than any other player in the Premier League this season, and more than any United player since Erik ten Hag's arrived in total. He's the perfect man for Erik ten Hag. When you look at a player, the Ten Hag profile of players, Hannibal Mejbri is that guy. He is that mould. His pressing ability, his ability on the ball, his passing range. He's got everything. The only thing I will say is, I'm just surprised we're not seeing him in the team a little bit earlier. You could have maybe seen him play a few games when McTominay would have played. Now, okay, maybe he came in because of McTominay's. Well, you wouldn't really say McTominay's illness. The illness was this game, weren't it? McTominay played alongside him. Oh, excuse me there, lads. But yeah, outstanding performance. And you can see here, I mean, the stats, the pressures per 90 minutes. I mean, he holds the record in a Premier League match, and this was his first start in the... I want to say his first start in the Premier League in total, I'd like to say. I can't remember him starting a Premier League game prior to this, prior to the Burnley game. And he's been a massive turnaround in our fortunes within 2 games. You know, you see the way we controlled and we dominated possession last night against Crystal Palace. Okay, you can say that's a weakened Crystal Palace team, but you can also say it's a weakened Manchester United team. But Mejbri had no problem being in the side and kind of dictating and controlling the play and controlling the press from the front against Burnley. And you see when he holds the record for pressures and the average pressing per 90 in the Premier League, in total in Premier League. That's not just for Manchester United. That's just not for Manchester United players. This is across all players across the Premier League. You see Hannibal Mejbri there, top, ranking 100 out of 100. Exceptional. Rasmus Højlund, that surprised me in itself, seeing Rasmus Højlund in second. I wasn't expected to see him there in second. I mean, he's a great presser of the ball. You've seen him come in already. You saw him against Arsenal, you know, pressing up against Gabriel, and that was really in receiving the ball. But he's that kind of a player that he goes and chases, he goes on hunts, and you see him in the team with Hannibal Mejbri. It's going to be exciting going forward. Let me just close this for a second, boys. Silent this one. There we go. Perfect. Getting messages here, you know. I imagine family members, friends, people all around the world, you know, excited that we're live here now. mufcMPB, welcome into the stream. If you've not already, make yourself known and get your opinions in on whether you think that Hannibal Mejbri is going to be a starter for Manchester United going forward in the future, or you think he's just going to be a bit part squad member for the time being and then potentially look to build himself into the squad. Going off players that were great players at the age of 20, one you couldn't say was Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes at the age of 20 years old was nowhere to be seen in world football. You know, he was someone who was still progressing and building his career. You've seen, I always get excited when we see players like Hannibal Mejbri come through and they've got all the work rate and they've got all the application and the desire, because that is always a great start to a career, because that essentially, that's what you need from a professional. That's just the bare bones basics, and then from that you can build on that. We've seen with players like Jadon Sancho, okay, got the skill, got the talent. If you've got the application and you've got the hard work, you can always build upon that. And that is massive going forward. How's it going, Scatty? Nice to see you. Hannibal looking tasty. Love his tenacity. I love his tenacity too. You look at him and, you know, he's got a real desire and a fight and a hunger for the ball, you know, and a will and a want to win. And that's what you need at Manchester United. You know, you don't need these players coming in and who are scared and not able to kind of take the pressure and take the weight of the badge, you know, on the back, on the chest, so to speak. Hannibal Mejbri does that. He doesn't care. You know, he loves it. He goes in there. You saw very early in his Manchester United career against Liverpool. He came on a 5-minute spell at home at Old Trafford, gets himself booked, flinging himself around there. I love that. I'm a big fan of it. And okay, people say, oh yeah, but he's reckless. Oh, there's going to be a sending off in no time. Casemiro gets sent off. Amrabat, you look at his sending off record. Players get sent off. Roy Keane used to get sent off. Players get, you know, top players, look at Zidane, routinely getting sent off. Top players in the midfield with that kind of tenacity will get sent off, but he'll also learn from that, and he'll also gain from understanding of where the boundary is, where the line is. You see at youth level and reserve level, he's had to learn that way, really, because of the way the reserves and the youth the referees are really way too lenient with some of the horrendous tackles at youth and academy levels. And for me, I wouldn't want him to take that out of his game. If he gets the odd red card here and there, I'm okay with that. I'll hold my hands up. And I'll go, you know what? We move on to the next one. And hopefully he doesn't get one, you know. You very rarely see players go back-to-back with red cards. That just doesn't happen. You know, usually they calm down. And even referees understand that. You know, when a player's got a love for the game and a love for the challenge, they know that there's no harm and there's no intent to hurt and endanger opponents. It's just a willingness and a want to win the ball back. I actually think his first yellow card yesterday was a little bit quick and a little bit soft. Or you could say, he's made no intention to play the ball. He's grabbed his man. I think it was soft. I think the referee could have, had a word with him, had a little talk to him and said, you know what, Hannibal, that's your last. Any challenge that goes to a foul now is going to be a yellow card. Anything worse than that, we're looking at a red. Going straight to yellow, it just doesn't. I'm not a fan of referees who do that kind of stuff. How's it going? Bath time, nice to see you. Boys, if you've been wondering where I've been the last couple of days, I've had the Rona. I've had the corona. I didn't realise I had the corona. I only found out today that. I mean, I've still got it now. I'm feeling a bit ropey now, if I'm being honest. But I couldn't let you boys down, and I wanted to be a stream, and I wanted to be talking about Manchester United and what's been going on. But yeah, I don't know whether I got it off the bus from Germany. I don't know what happened, but yeah, here I am. All rolling up. So make sure you're taking your vitamin C and your vitamin D and all that kind of stuff, and looking after yourselves. You won't catch it for you, but yeah. Hannibal has to start on Saturday. That Liverpool game, it was immense. That's what you want to see. Bath time says, should Manchester United player be learning on the job though? Of course. I don't understand where you're coming from there. I don't understand what you're saying there, Bath time, to be honest. I mean, you look at loads of examples. Wayne Rooney, Cristiano Ronaldo, plenty of that Marcus Rashford in more recent times. Players that learn on the job, that kind of, that's part and parcel of professional football, is it not? Just learning as you're playing. We're never going to get ready. I mean, we've tried the ready-made stars and plugging them into the team over the past 10 years. You've seen that with some of the signings with Ed Woodward, and I'm not too sure if you could say that has been a success. Where Manchester United have been the most successful is when we have brought in these young lads who've not had the very top experience, like, say, Rio Ferdinand's, like your Wayne Rooney's, those players who come in and learn the professional at the highest level and make the mistakes and potentially not make the mistakes. I feel like, yeah, Hannibal's one of them players that I feel in today's game especially, they're afforded the chance to make the mistakes because right now, we're not in a title race. Unfortunately, we're not. Ten Hag's still building. You look to last season and you think, yeah, we progressed and we played great football in spells and, we finished third and won a Carabao Cup. And, okay, should we be able to build on that? But then we lose a goalkeeper, which was always intentional. And then we switch a play style, which again was intentional because of just the personnel we've got within the team, to switch our play style and without having a striker also. So this year will be another year of transition. So I think now's a perfect time to play him, and you look at the numbers he's been putting in, and you look at the effort and the work rate. That's the bare minimum, and he's got that. He's shown it so far. I mean, I don't want to get too excited with myself. You would have heard me last week, even before Mejbri came into the team. I've been a big fan of Mejbri for a while. I feel like he's got all the attributes to go on to be a top professional. Again, you look at the ages. Go and think of any of the top players at the age of 20, 19, 20, 21 in world football, and they're few and far between. They very rarely are the finished product at 20, 21, 22. You get to the finished product around 25, and then from 25 onwards, you see the top tier professionals. I pointed to Kevin De Bruyne a little bit earlier on, Tony Kroos. Who else could I think of? Roy Keane, you could say. These players who develop and build the career and build into their career. I feel like Hannibal's one of those that, given the chance, he will be a top tier professional footballer, and definitely a mainstay in the Manchester United team. I'm excited for the future with him. I really am. Hannibal has to start on Saturday. I believe so. Who does he play though? We'll talk about starting lineups a little bit later. But Big Ron says, yes, that's big up the chat. Like and subscribe, you lazy folks. Yeah, welcome into the stream. If you're new to the channel, make sure you liked, make sure you subscribed. Liking helps the algorithm. That pushes us out to as many accounts worldwide as possible. So that helps us get a bigger reach and more interactions and all that kind of stuff. So that'd be really appreciated if you could do that. Don't forget your vitamin spray on your desk somewhere. I've completely forgot about that. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about that. But great shout, Sky. I got my vitamin spray there. I've not actually used that today. I'm really surprised by the growing anti-Bruno sentiment. I've not seen that, but I'm gonna ignore it, and I don't want to see it because that's just nonsense. The anti-Bruno sentiment. I mean, if anyone's anti-Bruno as a United fan, you're an anti-Manchester United fan. I mean, Bruno is the epitome of what you want from a professional in today's football. All the hard work, all the application, effort, talent, drive, desire, everything. He's got everything. I mean, what hasn't he got? I don't know. And I don't understand how anyone could complain about that, man. It really perplexes me. Mac Goomy says, hey, welcome in, Mac. Don't forget your vitamin. Read that one. Ash, did you see how well we played without Bruno? We played football and passed the ball for a change. Insert criticism, the quality of the opponent. Lol. I thought we played well yesterday. I thought Bruno coming into that team or being in that team would have played just as well. I don't think that would have been. Yeah, no. I mean, you want to take out 10 plus goals, 10 plus assists of seasons from the midfield spot. Yeah, no, that's madness. Again, you talk about opponent and the quality of the opponent and stuff like that. I mean, those 11 players playing for Palace, they're all trying to prove themselves and get themselves into the team on Saturday. So I don't buy too much into the lack of quality and the lack of a good opponent and a strong opponent that we played yesterday. I think, if anything, all those boys are, like I was just saying, trying to prove themselves to get into the squad. So, yeah, no, I think Bruno's not one where you look and think he's better out of the team. I think it'd be madness to think he's out of the team. Continuing on with Hannibal, he leads the data when it comes to pressure reaches a sustained speed of more than 25 kilometers an hour. Essentially, the quickest presser in the league so far. I mean, Ten Hag will be looking at these stats thinking, he's one of the first names on the team sheet on Saturday. I can't imagine he doesn't start. You look at Højlund also being one of the best pressers in the league now, in per 90. We've got two players there already incredibly press heavy, and you're hoping that Marcus Rashford comes in the team. That's an interesting question that I'll pose to you a little bit later. Whether Marcus Rashford deserves to kind of take a seat for a game. That'll be interesting to see how we go there without Marcus. You saw yesterday without Marcus and Bruno. One thing that we can look at and we can be happy about is the fact that Marcus and Bruno didn't play yesterday and we still played incredibly well. The young lads came in. Garnacho played a fantastic game. Pellistri, fantastic game once again. Medjbray, Mount coming back. I mean, absolutely fantastic. Scotty says, Jude at 20 to grow more scary as a prospect. Yeah, talking about 20-year-old midfielders who excel. There's not many, but when they are, top tier, they tend to be, world's best. I mean, to be fair, you look at Zidane at the age of 20, and he wasn't spectacular. He wasn't terrible either. Don't get me wrong. Martial was very good yesterday. I'm not too sure about that. We'll talk about that. We'll be an interesting one. Retaining the ball. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Big Ron. Luke says, I got laughed at when I said Hannibal man of the match on Saturday night. I genuinely think he done a decent part job in both games. Yeah, I mean, Medjbray's one of those that I think because people haven't seen him or they haven't seen enough of him, they've seen him bit parts in either friendly games or off the bench. They've never really seen him kind of get a foothold in a game. They've seen that now. They've seen that at Burnley. They've seen him make more pressure, run more kilometres than any player has done in any game in the league this season, and any player has done for Manchester United under Erik Ten Hag under his entire stewardship. Since he taken over from as a manager at Manchester United. So yeah, no, exceptional footballer, and and you'll only see him start to grow and get better within the team now that he's cemented. Well, I won't say he's cemented his position yet. Or would you say? Because I personally think that he's got a start on Saturday. I think he's nailed on for Saturday. And then you look at Tuesday, Galatasaray. That's going to be interesting. I think he probably plays there again. You know, I'm excited to see him in the team. And the question is, who does he come in ahead of? You know, do we drop one of the forward three? Do we look at maybe taking out does he take out potentially Bruno? I'd very much doubt he takes out Bruno. You know, Ericsson, but then we've got Amrabat and Casemiro in the middle. You know, do we not play with a wide right player? Do we have no Pellistri in the team? It's going to be interesting to see what Ten Hag does on Saturday. But the good thing is now we've got options where it wasn't looking the case a couple of weeks ago. A couple of weeks ago, it was looking like we were stuck with Ericsson, and we were stuck with, you know, a weak midfield with Ericsson and potentially McTominay not playing well and looking like essentially they could just walk into the team without putting in much effort and basically putting in minimal effort. Now that's not the case. Now you see with Medjugorje, now you see with Mason Mount coming back into the team. You know, McTominay and Ericsson, hopefully, not to say that, you know, they don't add something to the squad, but just that if they are going to be playing in the team, they're going to have to be performing at a top tier level. You know, their prime level, not putting in, you know, half-assed performances like we've almost seen from them lately, which have been poor, to be honest. Big Ron says Zidane was tearing up at Bordeaux. Hannibal is a dirty player. You remember when he got sent off against Liverpool when we lost 7-0? He got sent off. I don't remember him getting sent off. And I wouldn't say dirty player. I'd say he's got a bit of tenacity about him. He's got a bit of will, a bit of fight, a bit of desire. I love that. I want to see that from the players. I love seeing that from the likes of Roy Keane. I loved seeing that from the likes of Wayne Rooney. I loved seeing it from the Yap Stams. Do you know what I mean? I love players that showed a little bit of passion and desire for the badge, that showed a little bit of hunger, and a little bit of want and a fight. I have no issue at all. Remember Rafael da Silva, you know, our Brazilian right back. Loved him. All that fight, all that desire. Even Tevez, you know, you say, okay, you know, a bit of a snake for going to City and all that, but Tevez with the fight and the desire and just the will and the want for the ball. I want players like that in my football team. I don't want players who kind of like let the ball go past and, you know, got a 50. Put it this way. Let me ask you this question. Do you want to see Ericsson go into a 50-50 challenge when you know he's putting in 40%, not 50%? Oh, well, not 100% in a 50-50. Or do you want Medjugorje going into that challenge? You want Medjugorje, you want Hannibal going in there. You want players who are going to put a foot in the hope that they're going to win the ball. You don't want players going in there. How many times have we seen over the past 12 months players at this club go into a 50-50s and kind of go in fearful, tepid, not interested, not really wanting the ball, not going through it. I'm sick of seeing that. I don't want to see it at Man United. You don't see it at City. You don't see it at Liverpool. You don't see it at Real. You don't see it at the top teams. And you never saw it under Sir Alex Ferguson. You don't see it. And Medjugorje's one of them players. Okay, he might get sent off once or twice a season. I'm okay with that. That's going to happen. It's just part of football. It is what it is. Big Ron, Hannibal cost 10-15 million from Monaco as a 15-year-old kid. He was the hottest prospect in Europe for his age at that time. The kid will be a legend. He coming out of the Clairefontaine Academy, he had a few issues with him not getting into the teams, and he wanted to move away to Manchester United. I think it was 8 million, was it not? That we paid for him. But you know, fantastic 16-year-old, and he's got all the talent and the quality and the ability to go on and make it, and I'm excited to see. Amrabat's long passes were so smooth. Love the energy he has on the pitch. I want him to be there. He's so noticed, and I have no doubt he'll fight his heart out every week. Yeah, Amrabat looked fantastic yesterday. We'll talk about the moment. Every time you watch Hannibal, you know exactly what you're getting. Tenacity, heart, and desire. That's 3 key traits that you want from a footballer. Passion. Exactly, yeah. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to see him in the team. You see, here's the players that are pressing the most average. I swear we've got this one twice. No. So yeah. So should he start in the potential lineup to face Crystal Palace on Saturday? Hopefully, I should be going to that game. Not too sure yet. We'll see how I'm feeling with the Rona. I can't believe I've got COVID. I can't believe it. Do you know what I mean? I was shocked. The missus did a test because she wasn't feeling well, and she does tests for anything. Do you know what I mean? I would rather just not know, and that's what I've had this past like 5 or 6 days. Why you might have missed me and I wasn't streaming and I wasn't here on the show on Saturday, and you wouldn't have seen me on Monday either. So apologies if you missed out and you were expecting me to be live. Then I apologise, but hopefully Anil, you enjoyed Anil's show yesterday and Anton's show on Sunday. Rashford might not be back in the team Saturday. Garnacho was very good last night. Surely he can't be dropped after that performance. It's going to be interesting to see what team tonight goes with. He's got options now. This is the potential lineup to face Crystal Palace on Saturday, according to mufcMPB on Twitter X. Rashford off the left, Højlund up top, Mount on the right, Bruno Fernandes up top with Amrabat, Casemiro just holding, with Reguilon back at the left back spot, Maguire and Varane and Dalot in the team with Onana as a goalkeeper. That is a very strong team, and you could replace Bruno Fernandes or Mason Mount with Hannibal Mejbri. I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't to start Mount yet. He only played 45 minutes yesterday. We've got options. That's the thing, we've got options. Garnacho, how do you leave Garnacho out of the team? Like I said, he had a great performance yesterday against Crystal Palace. More than worthy of a start. But I personally would like to see Garnacho probably come off the bench on Saturday. You know, I feel like a full 90 minutes, which was it 90? Did he play 90? I mean, I was there yesterday. And I can't really remember. I was like fading in and out of the game as I'm watching the game, still coming over this flu. I wouldn't have gone if I knew it was Corona, to be honest. But yeah, I'd like to see him maybe not start. Bring in Rashford. Kind of let Rashford play in a team with Amrabat, Højlund, let their chemistry build up a little bit more, because it's going to be a long season. We've got plenty of games to play, so I'd bring back Rashford in with a little bit of rest. And also, he'd have been watching that game on the sidelines yesterday, and he would have been looking, thinking, is my place at risk here? You know, if I don't start to, perform and press, and you saw that with Garnacho yesterday. There was a moment where Garnacho tried to take on a defender. He did, got himself a half yard and then tried to take him on again. I think he did that to kind of show off to the crowd, because he heard the cheers. That got himself a little bit up, and they thought, right, I'm doing it again. So he tried again, lost the ball, fell on his back. Within a split second, it's like something clicked and he realised, right, up, got to get back, got to defend. That's something where you would have seen, and I hate to say it because I love Marcus, and we all love Marcus, or at least you should do if you're a Manchester United fan. With Marcus, you see Marcus go down in those moments, and too often recently you see him go down and he's clutching his ankle, he's clutching his knee, he's feigning injury, he's kind of making an excuse for why he's not getting up and tracking back, and that's something that I want to see him cut out of his game. I don't know where it's come from, I don't know where it started. But the thing that will stop that going forward will be competition. The thing that kind of helps him just be lazy in the team is having no competition and knowing that no matter what I do, I'm starting anyway. Which is okay if he's putting in the numbers. If he's scoring 1 or 2 goals a game or getting an assist, 1 or 2 assists a game, then yeah, for sure you can roll around and kind of feign injury from time to time. But when you're not putting in the numbers and the team's not performing, then it's costing the team, and it's clearly obvious that it's costing the team. So when you see Garnacho come in, work, press, harry, ask for the ball, passing, his movement, then from Rashford's perspective, you've got to be a little bit worried. So hopefully we'll see a little bit of an improvement in performance from Rashford on Saturday. I'm excited to see what's going to happen in regard to how he's going to perform. And see if he starts, which I mean I'd be amazed if he didn't start. I would be amazed if he didn't start. But you saw yesterday that Casemiro and Sufyan Amrabat and Mason Mount all playing in that midfield. Absolutely incredible yesterday. Again, you can point to it's the Carabao Cup. Okay, it's Crystal Palace. It's a weakened team. I'll point to the fact that those Crystal Palace players, they're all desperate to start for Manchester United. They're all desperate to start against Manchester United on Saturday. They all want to kind of force themselves into the team. So those aren't players who are just turning up for a wage. These are players looking to try and get themselves into a team, into that Crystal Palace team, and kind of have an audition in front of Roy Hodgson there. But the performance and the domination that we had in that game yesterday, I see it from the side. I was about 3 or 4 seats back, which is a little bit more difficult to kind of see what's going on the football field, because you get like the manager view, the pitch view of what's going on, and it's a little bit more difficult to read. But it looked for everything that I was seeing that we were dominant in that game. A fantastic performance from Casemiro and Amrabat. His ability just on the ball and his passing range and his want for the ball and his speed of play. Not only does he want the ball and kind of show for it, which is something we've not seen from McTominay, unfortunately, who's been more in the team recently. McTominay, you'll see that he kind of hides behind players and doesn't really want to receive the ball, whereas Amrabat's like shouting for the ball, wanting the ball to dictate the play, and those crossfield balls over to the right hand side into Pellistri, into Mount, fantastic football. The one to the kind of the holding of possession and just the passing and the maintenance of possession between Casemiro and Amrabat and Mason Mount. You can see it's building. Even within that one game, a fantastic performance yesterday from him. Skills to help Casemiro in that position. Exactly, Spencer. Welcome him, Spencer. Yeah, Amrabat's he's got all the ability, all the skills. You look at him in that first half. 75 touches. I think I'm right in saying that he had more touches in the first half yesterday than McTominay had in the last 2 games for Manchester United, which is incredible. Which you don't want to see, but Sufi and Amrabat, when you get these kind of players who come into the squad, you look and it's almost like a refreshing moment, like you've not had a drink of water for all day, and it's been absolutely gorgeous. The sun's been beating down, and all of a sudden you get that first sip of water, and it quenches your thirst, and you forget how much you appreciate just the basics. Do you know what I mean? Amrabat came into that team yesterday and he was glorious. Like, okay, I may be over-egging it, I may be, over-embellishing, but that's how he made us feel. I'm not sure how it made you feel, but that's how it made me feel. And maybe I might be wrong on this, but it was so refreshing to see a player that was able to pick the ball up deep with Casemiro and just offer options going forward and passings in between the lines. It was wonderful to see. I hope Rashford's okay. To be honest, he seems low energy off to me. He does, doesn't he? Rashford doesn't seem as kind of hungry as you've seen him in recent years. Also, really good stats coming from Hannibal. Pleasantly surprised. We're just talking about Hannibal. Speaking of thirst, boys, I'm so dry throated here. I don't know what's going on. Like I said, I've got the Rona, so bear with me tonight. I'm not on top form, but we carry on regardless. I'm putting in a McTominay performance tonight. Going for an Amrabat. Luke says Pellistri is a very fascinating player to watch. Another one who will show a lot of will and desire to press the ball and beat his man. Useful option to have at right wing. Yeah, Pellistri. I'm so confused with Pellistri. He's such a. I really like him and I really don't like him. I'm so confused with him. I know why I don't like him, and I know why I like him. I like him because he's great on the ball. He looks exciting. He looks like he's a top tier elite dribbler of the ball, because he is. He is. But I'm not a big fan of him in the final third. I just don't feel like he offers anything in the final third. I don't think he does anything. Like, I think his decision making a lot of times. Yesterday the pass to Delo, nice. I just don't think there's enough from him. But the beauty about it is he's a young kid. He's got plenty of time, and I want to see goals from him. I feel okay. I'm just thinking about it just then. I figured out what it is. What it essentially is he looks like a player, like a Saka, who should be getting a goal and assist every single game, at least. And it annoys me that he doesn't, because he looks like he should. Like he's got the quality to get at least a goal and assist every game. And I want to see that from him. And I want to start to see that from him when he plays. How many assists and goals does he have for United so far this season? 0. Goals, 0. Assists, 0. Frustrates me. We build on that positivity of yesterday. Yeah, I agree. I hope so too. I mean, you look at the performance from Amrabat, and you look at his first half stats: 100% duels won, 100% tackles won, 97% pass accuracy, 65 out of 67 passes completed, 5 out of 6 long passes completed. Absolute fabulous footballer, and I'm excited to see him. He looks like a baller. I mean, you could all see this at the World Cup. You could see it for Fiorentina, and the reason why Fiorentina was one of the most dominant teams for possession in Europe last season, and I think the most dominant in regard to possession for teams in the Serie A. Just an absolute top footballer. Garnacho back on the score sheet, getting himself into the right position in the box, getting on the end of the ball from, was it Delot? It was from Delot. And Delot making the right decisions, those balls across and just getting on the end of them, something that we've not seen from Rashford recently, and something that we really need to be seeing from Marcus Rashford. Amrabat in the first half had 72 touches. McTominay had 85 touches all season, has played 229 minutes. Embarrassing. He doesn't call for the ball, McTominay, I hate to say it, but it's something that you've got to point out. He hides from the ball. He does. He doesn't call for it. He doesn't ask for it. Amrabat wants it. Amrabat calls for it. I could hear him on the football field yesterday. He's shouting for the ball. He's shouting Casemiro. He's shouting Mason Mount. He's shouting Hannibal Mejbri. He wants that ball. He's shouting to Maguire. And Maguire needs to speed up his passing. He dwells on the ball a little bit too long. Although, I felt like he had a good performance. And I think that a player that is really going to kind of improve and shine next to Amrabat is Casemiro, because what Casemiro is allowed to do with Amrabat next to him, he's allowed to make those runs into the box himself and kind of get himself more involved in the play. And his passing range, as you've seen, this past week, his passing range is starting to improve. That always happens with Casemiro. He comes into the season, the first 5 or 6 games, he's rusty. He comes in rusty. He always needs 5 or 6 games, sharpen up the tools, get his feet, warm, supple, malleable, and get those balls delivered over the top. Fantastic football from Casemiro yesterday, and I think that'll continue, continue that we see Amrabat in the team next to him. Steve Bruce said on Sufjan Amrabat, I don't know where he's playing, to be honest, but the kid looks a player. Well, you saw him yesterday come off the left as a left back, and he filled in there as well at left back. There was a great moment where he shielded off a Crystal Palace player, out for a goal kick, and he looked for anything that Crystal Palace player was going to go and win that ball. But Amrabat shielded his man out, and he's pressing, and all over the place. One of the best pressers in world football. You look at all his pressing stats. He's in the 98 percentiles of the majority of the pressing stats. Someone that's going to be, I think, when you look at the idea that the board, apparently we'd heard this week that the board wasn't interested in signing Amrabat, and he was a Ten Hag signing. I mean, you got to be thankful that we did sign him and we listened to Ten Hag, because Amrabat, okay, you can say it's only been one game, but this for me is going to be the start of a great career at Manchester United. He's 27 years old. We've got 3-4 years. We'll definitely sign him on a permanent. And I'm excited for things to come with Amrabat. Super excited. And I'm hopeful and excited to see him in the big games. I want to see him against Liverpool, against Manchester City, against Arsenal. We control and dominate that game with Amrabat in that midfield. You look at Casemiro and Amrabat as a midfield too. I mean, Premier League football, is there many Premier League football, many midfielders or midfields in the Premier League that are stronger than that midfield of Amrabat and Casemiro? I can't think of one. I think okay, maybe we're getting excited, getting overexcited and ahead of ourselves here, but and they've got to settle and bed in. But I think this could be the start of a real bright future for Manchester United. I'm really hopeful and excited going into the rest of the season. We're 5 points behind Arsenal. It's not horrendous. We're not in a horrendous position. Okay, Man City, miles ahead. I think Man City are 9 points ahead of us, but who knows? Scotty says Marcus hasn't had the competition for a while. Hopefully yesterday's performance will reignite his fire and desire. Yeah, looking at Garnacho, he's got to be worried. At the start of the season, Garnacho played the first game, I think it was. I guess he wasn't too worried watching that performance against Wolves. Amrabat in the first half, you read that one? Amrabat can play anywhere, but hopefully he's next to Casemiro in the midfield on Saturday. Luke Taylor says Casemiro assist to Martial was disgusting, beautiful ball. Yeah, that ball off the right hand side into the back post. And Martial with a calm, clean finish. Something that we're not seeing from Martial for a little while. He didn't have a bad game. Didn't have a bad second half. First half a bit quiet. Second half played well. Did we get a buy clause in the loan deal? Yeah, we did. We had to get a buy clause in the loan deal, Scotty. So it's a guaranteed purchase that activates next summer. I think that was just to adhere to FFP rules. So that's where we were. On that one, Steve Bruce also said Casemiro and Amrabat is going to be hard to break down. I believe so. I mean, you add Hannibal into that equation. I mean, even Mason Mount. I'm excited. I'm so excited. We've got so many options now. Now this was all we had to wait for over the past couple of weeks. Everyone's talking about doom and gloom, and you'd have heard here on mufcMPB. Make sure you liked and you've subscribed if you've not already, boys. It helps the algorithm. It helps us here over at mufcMPB. If you'd have heard us, we were just waiting. We're just waiting for players to come back from injury. We weren't in the doom and gloom camps, or at least I wasn't here. If you'd have been listening to me for the past couple of weeks, you'd have heard me say, yeah, right now we're going through a tough spell. Injuries. That's what's causing it. Once we get our players back, we've got Kobe Mainoo to come back still. We've got one hell of a midfield. Once we've got Kobe Mainoo, Amrabat, Casemiro, Hannibal Mejbri, Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen, McTominay and Eriksen, they just don't get a look in for me. I've got to be honest, I don't want to see them near the team again. I'm excited to see how this team progresses moving forward. And put it this way, the beauty is, the moment that Amrabat's having a bit of an off spell, bring in Eriksen, let him kind of perform and turn it on for a couple of games, or let McTominay come in, turn it on for half 10 minutes. Yeah, we've got options, and I'm excited going forward. And I hope you boys are too, because you look at these boys. MUFC-MPB was on the Twitter, was super excited yesterday. We're back. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But it feels that way. It feels that way. Now, another great performance yesterday was Mason Mount. Mason Mount is someone who I've been defending and supporting all since we've signed him. I mean, a lot of United fans, I don't really think they understand what the calibre of player that Mason Mount really is. I've likened him to Luka Modric. I said he will be our Luka Modric. People have scoffed and kind of even laughed at the suggestion. But you look at the same career, at the same age. Luka Modric was playing for Dinamo Zagreb. Not lighting the world on fire, not doing anything spectacular. You look at Mason Mount and where he's been at his career and the performances and the quality and the ability on the ball, his ability off the ball, his understanding, his tracking, he's got everything. Mason Mount is a top-tier calibre player, and once he starts to bed into this system, once he starts to understand how to play with his teammates, you saw it yesterday, just a little glimpse of it in that 45 minutes. But you saw his passing range. You saw him play a little bit deeper, not having to press on the front foot as much as you saw like he did with Wolves and Spurs. And he was able to do that with Hannibal being there, and the fact that Crystal Palace weren't as kind of attacking with their intent. So we'll see it. Maybe we'll see him a little bit more exposed, in more open games. But I doubt you'll see a poor performance from Mason Mount, over the next couple of months. I think a lot of the first couple of games was in probably dealing with a hamstring injury and not wanting to kind of take those games off, being a new signing. But it was something that we alluded to here at mufcMPB, that Mason Mount, most likely in those first couple of games he was playing where he didn't have great games, was probably nursing a hamstring injury. And he was playing just because he wanted to carry on playing, but it got to a point where it was just too much, and he needed a break, to get some rest in that muscle, and in those ligaments. So Mason Mount for me, his passing range, his ball out wide to I think it was Palistri, in the lead up to the goal. I mean, that switch of play, absolutely fantastic. He made a few switches of play yesterday, and involved in a lot of the play, picking up the ball up deep and progressing it forward. A lot of 1-2 stuff out wide. It was nice switching over to the right-hand side as well, playing some nice football, interchanging with Delo, and fantastic performance from me. And I'm excited to see him continue to play for Manchester United. I think on the right-hand side will probably be where he plays on Saturday. Whether he starts or not, whether Ten Hag thinks, right, well, I need to still, slowly bed him back into the team, that'll probably be the case. I think Hannibal will start on Saturday. I think we'll see Hannibal start just off the right, and Mason Mount will probably play off the bench. Faye says, breaking, Jadon Sancho is set to rejoin Manchester United squad after apologising to Erik Ten Hag, according to Daily Mail. Well, if any news like that, you'll be hearing that over at mufcMPB. I've not got that here on my news feed yet, but a little bit later we can talk about that. The way the fans cheered every time Amrabat did was fantastic. We'll push Amrabat to be confident. Indeed. He looks an exceptional player. He looks like the last piece of our midfield jigsaw puzzle that we needed. We were all screaming out for him in the summer. We needed that extra midfielder, that extra little bit of quality, someone who can, get onto the ball, drive the ball, pass the ball. He's got everything essentially, Amrabat, and he's someone that we're excited to see going forward. Last event said Dan Gore looks promising. I've always been a big fan of Dan Gore, watching him at youth level, see him come through, see him on the football field yesterday was nice, seeing him with Garnacho. You might not remember they started together at the FA Cup youth final against Nottingham Forest. Great performance. I was at that game. I think it was 2-0. I've got the programme here somewhere. Well, yeah. Great performance, Dan Gore. I think Dan Gore is one of them players that will only continue to get better. Top little midfielder. Basically a little, I mean, I don't want to kind of jinx it, but like Caicedo was at Brighton, just that, bags of energy, tenacity. He's got everything. 19 years old yesterday. I think we'll slowly start to see him, get more minutes. But I don't think this season, you'll see him starting games. Maybe even not next season. I think 21, 22 is really when you start to see him, get himself into the United team, and someone to look forward to in the future. A promising player, got all the talent, all the ability, and another option for the midfield. And we've got a plethora of them at the moment. We've got so many options in the midfield. You're looking at the midfield numbers. How many we've got? I was just alluding to it. I was saying we've got Amrabat, Casemiro, Mino, Bruno. Okay, now depending on what position. If you want to say a number 6, Dan Gore can play a number 6 and he can play a number 8, so he can play both of those. So players who can play 6s and 8s. There's Amrabat, Casemiro, Bruno, Mejbri, Hannibal, Mason Mount, Eriksen, McTominay, Minu. So that's 8. Then you add Dan Gore, 9. Am I missing anyone else? So we've got lots and lots of options, and we're going to need them because Casemiro, he's not getting any younger. Next season, you know, and what a player to be under, what a player to be learning from. Dangor and Kobe Mino and Amrabat, even himself, can be looking at Casemiro and kind of learning and understanding and kind of taking those little bits of information that a 5-time winning Champions League winner can only really have. So yeah, not being negative, but all these youngsters are not going to stick around. Surely Kobe is the one we need to keep. I think players like Kobe and Dan, I feel like because they're Mancunian, they would stay. The only thing would be is if teams coming off of big money for them. What you've got to understand, Scotty, or we realise, is that Eriksen, I think, doesn't stay next season. I think Eriksen and McTominay are gone. So you look at Eriksen and McTominay gone. If we don't sign any more midfielders next season, which I would be okay with not signing any midfielders next season. I'd be okay with that. If Dangor and Mejbri and Kobe Minu get into the team and play a little bit more, I'd be more than fine with that, more than happy with that. So yeah, so we've got options. You look at Maguire yesterday. Maguire's stock can only have risen in the last couple of weeks, seeing how poorly we've been defensively, and I'd point that a lot of it down to Lindelof. Lindelof's been poor the last couple of weeks, and you know, you saw how big of a difference Varane is when he comes back into the team, and how big of a miss he is when he's not in the team. So everyone looks fantastic next to Varane. Maguire still, I mean, what we're talking about, he's not got a future at the club, has he? You know, let's try and get him sold in January and hopefully, you know, get him moved on. Erik ten Hag on Maguire said he was very solid. He was very solid, and that's all we can ask for him, you know, to be very solid. Erik ten Hag says both Scott McTominay and Chris Eriksen missed the game through illness. Again, two that we're not looking to be, you know, keeping us for a long term going forward. Anthony Martial, thoughts on his performance last night? I thought it was a solid 6.5, 7 out of 10 performance. Nothing spectacular. He's had 7-8 years now at the club. Another player that we should be looking to move on and really shouldn't be. Lindelof striker. Did I say something about Lindelof striker? If I say something or I say something out of word, just let me know. Quote it and say, Ash, this is what you said. Do you know what I mean? So otherwise, I'm questioning. I'm like, wait, Lindelof striker? Lindelof, you know what? He's not got a bad strike on him. He used to take free kicks for Benfica. I think he used to play as a striker in his youth as well. Despite missing most of them up for injury, Mason Mount has scored or assisted more goals than the entire Chelsea team has managed combined in September. Let's not compare ourselves to Chelsea, but that's according to Statman Dave. Mason Mount, I'm excited for him. I'm so excited to see him move forward in our club. Nah, the shot he had was so good. Oh, right. I thought I said striker centre back. Yeah, the strike was decent, hadn't it? But I wasn't. I'm stood there and I was right in front where he's taking the strike there. And I'm thinking, pass it. The Old Trafford faithful were always shouting, shoot. It's madness. So yeah, decent performance from Mason Mount. I'm excited to see us continue on. In very exciting news, or at least for me, hopefully for you boys as well, because I know there's a lot of Ten Hag men out there, you know, and that's okay. If you believe that Ten Hag out and you believe there's a better option out there, let's hear your opinion. You post it in the chat. Who do you think would be a better option for Manchester United than Ten Hag right now? I'm not too sure there's many managers in the world of football that I would pick over Ten Hag. You know, he is my man to lead us into the future. I'm super excited to you know, how he leads the club. You know, the mess that he's had to deal with upstairs, the mess that he's had to deal with on field, off field. Mason Greenwood, Anthony, Ronaldo, Maguire captaincy, players leaving the club. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something. There's always something. The Jadon Sancho saga debate, everything going on there. I mean, everything Ten Hag's had to deal with, and that's just been off the field. And then he's had to deal with all the issues on the field. He's won a trophy for us in the first season, got us top 3, you know, got us a few decent performances. We lost one game at home the entirety of last season. We've lost one game already at home this season, but to the same opposition that we lost last season. So maybe there's an omen there. You know, you look at his performances against the top 6 at home, fantastic performances against City, Chelsea, Liverpool, beat them all. Okay, away from home, people say, oh yeah, but he's got a terrible record against the top 6 away from home. Let me just point out something to you that you may not be aware of. Manchester City won one game against the top 6. No, I want to say top 9 let's say top 6, because I know that for sure, won one game against the top 6 last season. Manchester City, the treble winning, the media hails them as the greatest team of all time nonsense. They only won one game against the top 6 last season away from home. You know how many we won? 0. We won one less. You know, it's tough to play away from home these days. It's tough. And Ten Hag, yeah, okay, we don't want to see that. You know, we've got to build upon it. We can't see us going to the Emirates and going to Anfield and the Etihad and the rest of the stadiums and not putting in big performances. We want to see those big performances. But, you know, off his first season, off a difficult and tumultuous start to the season with all the injuries that we've had, you can understand that, okay, so far it's been a little bit difficult, but hopefully that's something that Ten Hag's working on, and I'm sure he is, and I'm sure you can see it. And I can't imagine now with a player like Amrabat, we go to away grounds and we kind of get dominated the way we've been dominated over the past 12 months, 18 months. So that'll be exciting. But just in, Manchester United are planning to open talks over a new contract for Erik Ten Hag. Richard Arnold and John Murtough are very happy with Ten Hag and continue giving him their full backing. Richard Arnold and John Murtough believe Erik Ten Hag remains the right man to lead Manchester United forward, and I've already touched base with the Dutchman's camp to discuss a new contract. Fine with that, absolutely fine with that. You know, exciting news. I feel like you secure your manager. You know, you make sure there's no issues there going forward. Also, it makes United fans feel a little bit comfortable that he's not going to leave. You know, there was moments this season and during the transfer window, you're thinking, you know, he could really step down. He could walk away from this job. You know, he's not getting the support. He's not you know, being allowed to control what's going on in the dressing room. And I say that in regard to the Sancho issues. There was talk that Richard Arnold and John Murtough had discussed to try and bring Jadon Sancho back in and act as mediators. And at that point, Ten Hag loses all his control of his dressing room because the player basically goes, well, you're not in control here. I just need to speak to the higher-ups and they're going to tell you that we've got to talk. And that's no good for the manager. The manager needs the veto when it comes to his squad and his team. He needs to be able to say to his players, look, I'm the boss. Doesn't matter what the high-ups say. When I say to them, you're not in the squad anymore, you're not performing, you're not in the squad, you're out of the team, you're out of the team. You know, and that seems to have been the case now. So exciting going forward. You know, things. Okay, we beat Burnley. Okay, we beat Crystal Palace, but you know, things are looking up. You look at the next 5 fixtures. You know, a lot of those games are winnable games. Crystal Palace up next at the weekend, and yeah, I'm hopeful. And we've got Galatasaray the game after that, and I can see a few wins. I can see a few wins in our future for sure. You know, and that's all we want as Manchester United fans. We want to see those wins. So Jim Ratcliffe said wants a majority stake in Manchester United and full control over the club or nothing. Not much news there, really. You know, Sheikh Jazim is buying Manchester United is still open. Sources are not commenting on this. We're still waiting for the Glazers. The Glazers are playing the long game. They know they don't have to sell. They're not worried. They're waiting to see the new Champions League format, how much money that's going to bring. They're probably waiting for the new FIFA World Cup format and the introduction of that, and the money that's going to be brought in there, because that's going to be bringing in you know tens of millions. I believe that new World Cup will be bringing in at least 50 odd million a year, at least for clubs. At least. That World Cup will be massive. So the Glazers are looking at that and thinking, you know, we don't need to leave. We're in no rush. Manchester United is not an asset that's going to be losing money. You know, okay, yeah, we have our ups and downs, you know, in the stock market and the value and stuff, but generally, as a value, the Premier League is a football club. Manchester United, you know, we've seen 10 years of us, you know, basically perform poorly and still be almost everything that anybody ever wants to talk about is Manchester United. You look at Sky Sports, you look at TalkSport, you look at, you know, ESPN, you look at any of the big news stations, BN Sports, it's all Manchester United. There was once a journalist said that you will never go poor from talking about Manchester United. And that appears to be true now as it ever was. In other news, breaking that Anthony is returning to England. He will meet police in the coming days to deny claims against him. You've seen two of the girls drop the cases there now. So with Anthony coming back to England, trying to clear his name, interested to see how that all develops over the next couple of weeks. I don't think anytime soon we'll see any kind of resolution from this in regards to the club, and I don't know how we get resolution from this. In fact, like, there's no ongoing court cases. This is a case. There's going to be no like innocent verdict there. This is just going to be a case of him slowly being brought back into the team. He releases another statement. He releases a video on English TV. I'm not too sure how he gets brought back into the team. It's going to cause an uproar with the media. It's going to cause an uproar with the domestic abuse charities and organisations. And I just don't. Honestly, I'm struggling to see a way back for him. Or at least I'm struggling to see a way back for him that's not, littered with controversy and absolute madness. Anthony flew back to England from Sao Paulo on Tuesday and has agreed to meet with Greater Manchester Police over allegations of abuse. Sources said that Anthony is willing to surrender his phone to GMP to help them with their investigations. Again, I'm not too sure how this one gets all cleared up. And I think that's all for our mufcMPB news for today. 20-year-old Valencia midfielder Javi Guerrera is a major target for Manchester United. He's set to be watched every game by Manchester United. Newcastle are also interested. I don't think we need him. I'll just put that one out there. I think this is Marca, kind of building the news and the information for his eventual move to Real Madrid or Barcelona. I can't see us going in for him. I think we're stacked at the midfield spot. I really are. We are as I was speaking to you about it earlier. We're absolutely loaded with midfielders. Make sure also, boys, if you've not already, make sure to like, comment and subscribe if you've not. I appreciate you getting involved today. I apologise if I wasn't on top form today, because of obviously being struck down with the corona and COVID, all that kind of nonsense, and hopefully I'll be recovering over the next couple of days. Still feel a little bit under the weather here. But I've enjoyed the show. We'll be bringing you more news tomorrow with Anton Stream. Hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you very much for your contribution today. And I will be back on Saturday after the Crystal Palace game. Most likely I'll be going to that one. We can talk about all the happenings and what happened, and talking about us smashing Crystal Palace 5-0. That's what we want, boys. But once again, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Make sure you've liked, comment and subscribed. The like is the big one. That helps us push the algorithm. So make sure you've liked the video and take care. Thank you very much. Glory, glory, Man United. Go on, Scatty. Take care, Scatty. Spencer, FaZe, Luke, and Last Avenger. See you later, boys. Have a good one.